On this morning, Alex couldn't help but appreciate the beauty of a beautiful day. It was sunny and gentle winds made it feel like springtime. He felt grateful for this moment as he loaded his daughters into the car. They chatted and laughed. He couldn't wait to see what the day would bring. As Alex drove to the school, he felt a sense of pride and joy seeing his daughters growing up into strong young ladies. The moment they were at the school gates, he told them goodbye and watched him walk through. As a successful business owner, he had achieved a level of success that many could only dream of doing. He had worked tirelessly over the years to build his business from the ground up, overcoming countless challenges and obstacles along the way. Now, his media empire is one of the most respected in the industry with a reputation for quality and excellence that was unrivaled. Despite his success, he remained humbled and dedicated to his work. Today was an important day for him because he was launching his foundation. He had worked for months to plan and organize the launch event, and was looking forward to the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of those affected by. To make the occasion even more special, he had flown his parents from their small town to attend the opening ceremony. Alex's upbringing was humble as he grew up in a small town in the northern states with a family that didn't have much. His father worked long hours as a mechanic at a truck shop to provide for his family while his mom was a nurse at the local hospital. Alex had an older brother, Ben, who he used to fight with a lot when they were little kids. Despite being close in age, the two brothers had very different personalities. Alex was a grumpy and easily irritable kid who would often complain to his parents about how Ben didn't share his toys with him. In contrast, Ben was a more easygoing child who enjoyed playing with his younger brother and didn't think much of the occasional. Unfortunately, their parents would often believe Alex's complaints and reprimand Ben, even though the accusations were often unfounded. Alex's success in school was not just limited to his personal life. In fact, he excelled academically, particularly in subjects like math and languages. He had a natural talent for understanding complex concepts and theories, and he was able to grasp new ideas and information. Ben, Alex's older brother, was a different story when it came to academics. Unlike Alex, Ben didn't do as well in school and had trouble with his grades. However, he had a passion for sports and was an exceptional athlete. In junior high, he played both basketball and baseball and was known for his skills on the field. Despite his love for sports, Ben struggled to balance his extracurricular activities with his studies and his grades suffered as a. At the age of 7, Ben suffered from a severe infection that his parents tried to treat for 2 weeks with various types of medication. After multiple failed attempts, the doctors decided to prescribe strong antibiotics, which eventually helped him to recover. However, as time went on, Ben's parents began to notice that he was not responding to their calls and became concerned. It was later discovered that the antibiotics had caused this hearing to become. When the parents were at work, Ben was responsible for taking care of his younger brother and looking after the household chores. The family had a small garden where they grew apples and vegetables. Ben was always eager to help tend to the garden, and he enjoyed spending time outdoors. On a beautiful spring day, the entire family was working together in their small garden. Ben was digging a HU for a new apple tree while his mother tended to the vegetable patch near. Suddenly Ben's mother, Jenny, realized she needed a bucket of water and called out to him to fetch it for her. Jenny tried to call him by shouting his name, but he didn't hear her because of his hearing impair. Alex threw a rock to try to get Ben's attention, but it missed him. When Ben's mother called out his name again with no response, she got angry and quickly walked over to him to ask if he could hear her. Ben was scared and confused by the situation. He didn't understand why his mother was so. Ben's mother continued asking him why he wasn't responding and why she had to keep calling him so loudly. She was becoming hoarse from shouting, which added to her growing frustration. Initially, Ben's family tried to adjust to his hearing impairment, but as time went on, his mother became increasingly frustrated when he couldn't hear her. She started shouting and getting angry, which made it difficult for Ben to communicate as he was afraid he would miss. Whenever Alex and Ben had a disagreement or argument, Alex would mock and insult Ben using hurtful language and making fun of his hearing impairment, knowing that Ben had difficulty hearing him, but ironically often Ben didn't even hear those insults because of the constant worry that he might not hear when his mother or other people called for him. Ben began bedwetting with Ben's bedwetting. Alex now had another way to make fun of his brother whenever he didn't get his. At school, Ben became the target of ridicule from his peers. Some teachers were understanding of Ben's hearing impairment, but others were not equipped to handle it and asked his parents to take action to address the issue. One day while Alex was eating his lunch at home, he accidentally spilled his soup on the floor. When Ben came over and asked Alex to clean up the spill, Alex refused and ran. Ben chased after Alex and pulled him back by his ear. This made Alex cry loudly and he fell to the floor. Alex then got up and approached his brother quietly from behind. He said mean things to Ben, like how he wets the bed and can't hear anything, in a way that only made Ben feel worse. In the end, Ben took care of wiping the spelts up on the floor on his. The family struggled, and Alex would often want something from the store, which the family could not afford. One day as they were getting groceries, Alex saw a fire truck toy, which he really wanted. "We can't afford it. Alex, you can play with your wooden toys," Jenny said. Alex cried hysterically, pulling on his mother's sleeve. His mother wasn't having a good day. She jerked him back and said, "I told you we're not getting the truck." Ben was quietly putting groceries on the counter and watching. A few days later, Ben left the school early. He skipped math as it was really boring. Besides, nobody cared if he did well in that class. Teachers practically gave up on him after he left the school premises. He went around and asked the neighbors if they had any work to be done when he knocked on the third door. An old lady, Mrs. Bennett, opened the. Ben asked if he could do some chores for money. Mrs. Bennett was really happy. She had bags of unused soils sitting in her backyard that she needed to carry out. Ben quickly got to work. By the time he finished carrying the heavy bags out of the backyard, it quickly got dark. Mrs. Bennett gave him a WA of cash in. Ben quickly rushed to the store before it closed. He stuffed the shiny red fire truck carefully in his backpack and ran. When he came home, Jenny was furious. She asked him where he had been so late and began scolding him. Ben explained that he had an important assignment at school. "What homework did you even do?" Dummy mother asked Ben, "And why are you all dirty? Were you hanging out with Josh again?" The reason Jenny was angry all the time was because of her husband. Their marriage didn't start off well when they were young. Lance was a really romantic young man. He courted Jenny really well. She dreamed of moving to the city, and Lance tried hard to make it happen, but at that moment, they couldn't afford it. Jenny came from a rich family and was used to having all the good things. Lance, on the other hand, was from a working-class family. They got married despite Jenny's parents' disapproval when they had been. Jenny wasn't really happy about her son. They were barely making ends meet. Jenny constantly compared her rich family to Lance's poor parents. That's why Lance didn't want anything to do with Jenny's family. He told her one day he will make her dreams come true. Unfortunately, that day was too far ahead. Ben was standing in front of his parents. His clothes were dirty from all the mud from carrying the bags. Jenny was screaming at him and he was just standing there. "How dare you stand there and smile? Go wash yourself up." Now, Ben was smiling and happy because he knew he had something in his backpack that he bought for his little brother, Alex. Alex was just standing there laughing at how Ben was getting scolded. He was still a kid and perhaps he didn't understand many things yet, and you know how kids are when everything was over. Ben asked Alex to come to the bathroom. He carefully got the shiny red fire truck out of his back. Alex could not contain his joy. He was so happy that he started jumping around and accidentally knocked over the metal bucket on the bathtub. Mom heard the commotion and came rushing to the bathroom. When she saw the fire truck, she got really angry. Both boys held her heads low. "Where did you get the truck?" Jenny asked Ben. Ben didn't say. "I'm talking to you, Ben. Where did you get the truck?" After another moment of silence, she probably guessed, "Oh no. Did you steal it from the store? You're just like your father. Where did you get the truck?" I said. Ben smiled a little bit. He didn't know what to say. He didn't want his mother to know that he had skipped class to get it, so he just stood there with his head low and hoping Mom would forget. Jenny, thinking Ben must have stolen the truck, went back to the store. Ben was walking behind her when they got there. Ben was already contemplating some but whooping that would probably annoy. "I'm really sorry, sir. Is this your toy? I told my boys we couldn't afford it. They must have stolen it." "Not really. Your son paid for that truck," the cashier replied. "He did." "Oh yeah." They went out and Jenny asked Ben where he got the. Ben finally told her about the bags of soil that he got paid for taking out. When she heard it, she was surprised and they just walked home quietly. Years passed and the family still struggled. Jenny still constantly complained to her husband about their small house, about their old car, about the things she could have had, but still didn't. Meanwhile, Ben was a sophomore in high school. His grades were pretty bad, but his teachers already pretty much gave up on him, but he was doing well in sports. He loved sports. Alex, on the other hand, was winning math competitions. He was a promising student. He was 3 years younger than Ben, and they often had fun doing math calculations together. Ben would give Alex simple arithmetic problems, which he couldn't solve himself, and Alex would quickly give him right. Ben was really proud of his brother. He also loved his brother very much. Most of Alex's friends had bikes and he really wanted one too. Ben saw Alex looking at his friends' bikes when they rode past him after school. One day, Ben traded his baseball gloves for a day of riding his friend's bike. When he showed up in front of Alex on a bike, Alex was elated. Ben spent the whole day pushing Alex from behind and teaching him how to ride a. At the end of his sophomore year, Ben started to feel bad. Subtly, his hearing was getting worse. He also rapidly started losing weight, and in a matter of weeks he couldn't walk much. He would get tired and just wanted to lay down. The parents had no idea what was going on. Blood tests came back positive for leukemia. They started the treatment too late. Ben ended up in bed soon. He couldn't get up and walk on his. Jenny or Lance took turns taking days off from work to take care of Ben at home. He got too weak to even chew his own meals. Jenny fed him with soft meals and porridges. Lance carried them to the bathroom when he needed to go. Lance worked hard to provide for the family. He got a second job to cover the treatment. He would spend the night sitting in dark kitchen and quietly sobbing while Jenny sat next to her. After 6 months, Ben started losing his eyesight. Alex was turning 12 at the time. At first, he didn't really give it much attention, but over time the weight of the graveness of the whole situation started to sink in with every new day. Alex was becoming more and more quiet as he understood that Ben was seriously ill. He would spend long hours sitting next to his brother and asking him to play math games. Ben just lay motionless, breathing heavily and looking into space. He would slowly turn his head towards where the sounds were coming from and try to squeeze out a word, but it was incomprehensible. For Alex. It was early morning. For the first time in his life, Alex cried because he felt so sorry for his brother. He woke up and didn't feel like going to school even though he had an important preparation for a math competition with his. He sat on the edge of his brother's bed and held his hand. He cried quietly and tears fell on his brother's hands. He looked at Ben laying on the bed with his eyes open and looking in the distance. He remembered how Ben got him, the red fire truck, how he would push him on other kids' bikes, hours on end, trying to teach him how to ride. "I love you, brother. Ben. Do you hear me? I love you. Please. Come on, man. Get up now. You said you were gonna take me to the lake. You lied to me, Ben. Now please play the mask game with me. Ben, please ask me your questions." Alex remembered, how's a kid? He made fun of his brother and laughed at him when Ben couldn't hear something, how he pinched his nose whenever Ben woke up wet. He hated himself for that. "Ben, I'm sorry. Do you hear? I said, I'm sorry, brother. I'm gonna take you to the lake. All right, we'll get on the boat and we'll have lots of fun together. Do you hear me? Ben? Say something, please." At that moment, Ben suddenly turned his head slightly and looked at Alex. His lips moved weakly, turning into a smile. He slowly started lifting his arm, beckoning him to come closer. Alex got excited and he shouted, "Mom, Dad, Ben is looking straight at me. Come." Jenny and Lance came rushing in. They were smiling as Ben looked at them too, as they all sat there. Ben beckoned them to come closer. He wanted to say something, but it was extremely hard for him to push the air out of his lungs to say it. He whispered weakly, "Yes, baby." "What is it?" Jenny asked Alex. "Promise me you will take Alex to a good university, promise. He's smart. He's so much smarter than me. He has a good future." Tears rolled down Jenny's cheeks. Lynn held Ben's hand and wept softly. Jenny held Ben's head and kissed him on his forehead. She repeated how much she loved him and asked to forgive him for everything she had done that evening. Ben passed away. Everyone was. Alex screamed and cried for 3 days. For several days after the funeral, Jenny and Lance didn't speak much to one another. They were just quietly weaving. A month after Ben passed away, Jenny was in his room holding his clothes. Alex walked in and asked his mom if he could keep his brother's clothes and wear them. He became quiet in the household. Alex had no one to goof around with anymore. His best friend, his brother, was. Alex became even more quiet from that day on. He committed to studying really hard to fulfill his brother's wishes. When Alex graduated from high school and it was time for college, Lance sold everything he could to pay for Alex's studies. 4 years later, Alex graduated from a prestigious business school and started his media production company, which would later grow into a giant media. While working in the media industry, Jim met his future wife, Griselda. She was a beautiful Latin American girl who was kind and caring, exactly what Alex was looking for in his future wife. They got married and had 3 beautiful daughters. As he dropped his 2 beautiful daughters to school, he asked his driver to pick up his parents from the airport. The opening ceremony of the Ben Arnold's Cancer Treatment Foundation was a big event for the. Alex gave his speech to the members of the company. In it, he said that Ben Arnold's was a man with an immense and pure heart. Thanks to him, he became what he is today and is now standing here. His brother taught him how to love and be kind no matter what. Lance and Jenny Arnold sat holding hands in the front row. Griselda was sitting with their daughters and grandparents, who were in high spirits. She looked happy to be married to Alex in the evening. The whole family enjoyed their dinner together and thought of how much they loved their little brother, Ben. Alex remembers his brother, and still has dreams of him, with presents and riding on his back. He misses his brother and feels the need to show him love and kindness. Sometimes people just find it easy to lose those they love without realizing or caring that it hurts everyone around them.